Ooh, hold on, guys. Hold on. I forgot my headphones. I don't like to sound like this. I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. The sound's gonna get better. YouTube, what's good, guys? It's your boy TD, and I'm back again with another live, guys. And today's live is going to be on 12 players that I believe are going to be good for your fourth quadrant. Now, I want to start making fourth quadrant videos and start getting you ready to just sprinkle guys in your lineup. And every week, guys, I'm giving you the gas right now. That's what I do. Like, I might talk about Zay Flowers week 2. I'm still on that. I just can't make content about Zay Flowers when he's having bad games. But when he's boom, I can throw it back in your face because you're ready to receive it. So I just sprinkle guys that I think got league winning upside and sprinkle them on my lineup, no matter who they are. It could be Blake Corm, it could be Troy Franklin. I'm just sprinkling guys on my lineup. Next thing I know, Cortland Sutton went down. Troy Franklin, number one wide receiver this week. Boom. Let's go with um I'm getting a brain freeze. Tracy. Tyrone Tracy. I had already stashed him on all my lineups. Like I got him in like 90% of my leagues. I just put him on there. All of a sudden, he beat out Devin Singletary. I didn't know he was going to beat out Devin Singletary. He could have been a backup the whole year. But I'm just sprinkling guys on my lineup. And you can sprinkle guys that I don't even mention because anybody can come into a situation. That's what it's about. It's not, I drafted my team. Look, I got Marvin Harrison Jr. I got Jamar Chase. That doesn't mean that you're going to win the league. You got to keep revolving. Sometimes Jamar Chase might go to 3 or 4 bad games. Sometimes a rookie might start off slow, but you still got to keep sprinkling or hold on to guys that you believe are going to get better and get rid of guys that you think are trending down. They're not going to be getting better in the fourth quadrant. So that's why I'm making this video. And there's nobody else in the fantasy football community talking about quadrants. Now, they do break it down with the same type of math where, okay, guys, this guy's going to be good for you late and he's going to be good for you in the fantasy football playoffs. A lot of people talk about that, but they don't talk about the 4 game trends that happen every 4 weeks that different people start booming and different people start going down. So, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. This is cutting edge content. I said what I said. This is cutting edge content. And guys, be careful about putting politics. I'm not going to address any politics in the chat. That's one thing that you can have a number one fan, and I can say I'm with a certain person, and I don't because I haven't really paid attention. I know it's voting time, but I can say that I'm on the side and I can lose followers. That's like at a restaurant. You don't go in there and start talking about who you with or who you voting for. So I just want to tell you, I don't mind y'all talking about it in the chat, but I'm not going to address it. Right? Okay. Um, let's begin. I might have thought of working. I wanted to do some news, but no, let's get to the content because I want people that stream this video, I want them to be able to get my 12 guys. So after I read out the 12 guys, then I'm gonna get to the chat. Now listen, if you want your question answered immediately, you super chat. Other than that, you become a member, you get priority, you make sure you get your questions answered. And yeah, guys, I'm gonna just go through these 12 guys. So what's up, CHB? I see you, King of Nike. I see you, D Lion. I see you, Harambe. I see you, Dustin. I see you, Conscious. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dustin in the house. Big Will in the house. Watch your mouth. Yes, those NFL trades. And I'm going to talk about that after I talk about my 12 guys. Okay, so the first guy I want to talk about, he was on my waiver video for early waiver wire ads, was going to be Quinton Johnston. Now, listen. Guess what? I failed. That's why I don't say players suck. Sometimes I do. I might say I don't want this guy, and I have to change. That's why I don't. I try not to chastise y'all because I get done like that once or twice a year. I rarely say a player suck, and then he get better, and I say, oh, he's terrible, and I have to go back on my word. But I have to go back on my word right now, and I know better. I know better than talking about Quinton Johnston suck or he ain't that good because I seen football. I played football. I wasn't when I first started playing football. I wasn't great. It takes time. Quentin Johnston has found a role. I got to give respect to Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh has got Quentin Johnston in a role where he's going to be a deep threat and he's going to have make big plays. And that's what he was in college. They didn't ask him to be no hyper target machine like Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. They wanted him just to make big catches, jump ball, and get behind the defense. And that's what Justin Herbert is doing. That's what Jim Harbaugh is doing for us drawing up the plays. I like Quentin Johnston. I'm actually guys in a league that I don't want to do it, but I got to. I'm going to have to drop Michael Pittman. I'm not telling y'all to drop Michael Pittman, but I got to drop Michael Pittman on my team because he's not doing anything, and I don't have a lot of bench spaces. So I'm going to get Quentin Johnston because I like Justin Herbert going forward. I'm streaming Sam Darnold right now, and I'm going to start streaming Justin Herbert if I can get him off waivers. It might cost me too much. I might not be able to get him. Somebody might outbid me, but that's okay. I still got Sam Darnold, still other good players. But what I'm saying, guys, is Quentin Johnston is a boom guy. Now he can bust too, but I'm okay with that. Michael Pittman ain't doing nothing. He's not doing anything. He's not getting any targets, none of that. I'd rather a guy bust on my team where he got the upside, the boom, than a guy just busting every single damn week, right? So it's time for me to move on from Michael Pittman in some leagues. Some leagues I'm starting him, some leagues I'm moving on from him. Just depending on the format. So Quentin Johnson, I think he's a fourth quadrant player. I think you want to have him on your team. He could win you the fantasy football playoffs. All right, let's move on to my next guy. This guy is a wide receiver a quarterback from the New England Patriots. It's going to be Drake May. Yes, it's going to be Drake May. And the reason why I like Drake May for the fourth quadrant, guys, is New England's let him go. They're not going to bench him. They're going to let him play and let him figure it out. Now, does he have a lot of weapons? No, but he's pushing the ball downfield. So if you see a good matchup against with New England, you can stream this guy or you can stash him or whatever you need to do. I just want you to keep an eye on him. That way, if you need to sprinkle him in your lineup in a fantasy football playoffs because he got a great matchup, you can do that. Now, listen, you might say, well, look at the matchups now. You don't know what these defenses are going to be at that time. They could be good, they could be terrible. There was good defenses early in the season. There's bad defenses right now. So you just gonna have to take it week by week. But I think Drake May could be a fourth quadrant winner. So make sure you just keep your eye on Drake May at the quarterback position. Let's move on to another wide receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Is going to be George Pickens. Yes, George Pickens, guys. And the reason why I like George Pickens right now is because I believe Russell Wilson and the head coach Mike Tomlin is on the same page, and they want to get George Pickens the ball, and that's the only thing I've been waiting on with George Pickens. I like his talent, I just can't trust it because they don't care about getting him the ball. They rather get Najee the ball instead of him. Now they know he's a big part of this team, and in order for them to go to the next level, they need an alpha wide receiver, and then they didn't bring anybody in that was going to really press George for targets. Mike Williams is not going to press him. Mike Williams is a boom bust type guy. So he's just going to help George Pickens. George Pickens, all those targets that he wants is going to be there for him. Russell Wilson's going to hyper target him in a Russell Wilson Pittsburgh Steelers type of way. Not like Justin Jefferson, but in a different way where he's fantasy startable. He's a top end wide receiver two, a low end wide receiver one, and all the upside in the world. So I love George Pickens for the fourth quadrant. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to run the ball and then play action and go to George Pickens. All right, let's move on to my fourth guy, and this is the wide receiver, and it's going to be Tank Dell. Listen, it doesn't matter if Tank Dell is 100% healthy. It doesn't matter if he's better than Stephon Diggs. He's the number two wide receiver no matter what, so he has to play. Robert Woods is not the guy. Robert Woods is a good, solid player that had his day, but he's not ready to take on a wide receiver two role on the team. John Mechie, he's not ready to do that. He never really formed into the player. He had cancer. Neither here nor there. But he's just not ready to be an alpha as a number two wide receiver on the team. So I believe Tank Dell's got to rise up to the occasion. They got to have somebody to throw the ball to. C.J. Stroud is not going to just hike the ball and sit back there and let people sack him. Now that may happen a lot, but he's gonna still throw the ball. So somebody's gonna benefit in fantasy, and that's gonna be Tank Dell. So Tank Dell is a guy that you can buy on right now, and people, I don't know, man. I'm not okay. That's fine. I think this guy's gonna be a good fourth quadrant guy because you don't have to worry about Stephon Diggs anymore. Dalton Schultz is not really gonna take any targets from him. So I love Tank Dell for the fourth quadrant. And listen, you do with this information as you should. I'm not telling you to go and make no trade. I don't want to hear anything about TD. You want me to go get this guy? No. Well, you can if you want to, but do with the information as you may. You might not have to make a move until like week 12. You may have to make the move tomorrow. It just depends on your league. You know your league, so just take the information and do with it as you please. All right, let's move on to another wide receiver. You know, wide receiver. This is a wide receiver league, so there's a lot of wide receivers out there going through a lot. But the next guy I want to talk about is Calvin Ridley. Y'all remember what I said about Calvin Ridley at the beginning of the season? I said that I'm not drafting him, but I said I would be willing to trade for him once I saw what was going to happen between Will Levis and I just didn't think Calvin was no superior alpha, but I do think he's a good number two wide receiver when everything is like on the same page. And I believe with Mons Mason Rudolph is there, Calvin really is a good start. Excuse me, Calvin really is a great start. So he can give you 10 to 15 points a week with Mason Rudolph. Will Levis, I don't want him. So people have dropped Calvin Ridley. I picked him up in a couple of redraft leagues and I stashed him. You can also buy low on him. You probably could give up a third round pick for Calvin Ridley. If they get a good quarterback in Tennessee, Calvin Ridley was going to be fine. He's a great route runner. So yes, guys, Calvin Ridley. I think this is the time if you got him to keep him on your team. Don't trade him away, or be looking to acquire him if you got room on your team. Whatever you do, redraft dynasty, whatever you do, what it do. If you got room for Calvin Ridley, pick him up. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's move on. Let's get to a quarterback. And this quarterback is going to be a quarterback from the Los Angeles Chargers. It's going to be Justin Herbert. Now, listen, you got to give Jim Harbaugh some credit. Everybody thought he was going to stunt Justin Herbert, but he's not stunting him. He's actually setting them up for success. Like, I'm giving you a run game that you never had. You always had to put everything on your shoulders. Now I'm going to give you something for the defense to come up, and then you can throw it over their head. And that's what he's doing. Justin Herbert always can pass the ball. Even if you knew he was passing, he could always wheel and deal. But now that you have to stop J.K. Dobbins or whoever's at the running back position and they running the ball and they got a good offensive line, now you got to come up and play them run fronts like the 4-4 or the Bear or the 5-2. Now you're just one-on-one with Lad McConkey and Quinton Johnston, and Justin Herbert got a big arm. And he athletic, he can get out the pocket, and he can throw screens to J.K. or whoever, or Quinton, and give Quinton an in around. So that's how you set up. You have to establish the run. Basketball, you have to throw it into the post, make the defense collapse. Right? It's the same type of thing. You have to make the defense come. If not, they're just gonna stay in too high shell and watch for the deep ball and keep everything in front of them come up and tackle. So you have to make them come up on that run game, come out of that too high shell, go into a cover three, which is more people in the box to stop the run, and then you can throw it over their head. And that's what's going on with Justin Herbert. So I love him for the rest of the year. If I needed a quarterback and I was streaming, and I'm willing to go down with the ship with this, I would sell out to get Justin Herbert and let him be my quarterback for the rest of the year. Only thing I would be worried about is an injury to Ladd or Quentin Johnson. As long as that don't happen and Justin Herbert stays healthy, I think this team is going to be good, and I think Justin Herbert could be a league winner. And I think he's going to be throwing for a lot of yards in the fourth quadrant. Okay, let's move on. The next guy I want to talk about is a running back, and I've been talking about this guy all year, and it's Brian Robinson. It's another buying window for him. Also, I think he's just a great fourth quadrant running back. Don't you know if any running back that's playing with Jaden Daniels or any type of running quarterback that's good, that running back gonna eat. I'm still waiting for somebody to tell me a running back that played on a team with a quarterback that could run that was good that had a bad season. I'm not saying the number one running back, but you tell me that he had a bad season. It ain't never happened. Now, if something's wrong with the quarterback, he can't move, yeah, that's different. But if that quarterback can run and he's a threat, that running back gonna eat. And Brian Robinson, man, he's getting great looks because everybody worried about Jaden getting out the back door. That's why I'm on Brian Robinson. So, guys, Brian, if you got Brian Robinson, keep him. Do not trade him. Stash him for the fourth quadrant. Know that he's going to be good, and you can start him all the way up to the fourth quadrant. But I think when he's in the playoff, I think this is the type of running back you're gonna feel good about having in your lineup at your flex or your RB2. Shoot, it can be your RB1 if you win zero RB. Okay. All right, let's move on. The next guy I want to talk about is going to be a wide receiver. I've been talking about him for about 3 weeks. This is Jordan Addison from the Minnesota Vikings. I love Jordan Addison. He's the number two wide receiver on the other side of Justin Jefferson. Don't y'all know those are honey spots? Yeah, nobody else talks about this. Everybody were like, I don't want wide receiver twos, and I understand it. Wide receiver twos usually don't get the value, but you know how you be playing against a guy and you got Jamar Chase and he got Jordan Addison. You be like, yeah, I got him, and then Jordan Addison go for 2 touchdowns. Why? Is it just Jordan Addison got lucky and he got it behind the defense on an accident? No, the team was planning for Justin Jefferson to kill him, and Jordan Addison is the one that's getting one-on-one coverage and getting behind the defense because they're not prepared for him. They rather let him beat them than to let Justin Jefferson. That's the chess and the checkers of football. That's why I love certain schemes and I know what's going to happen with the schemes. Is it going to happen every week? Probably not. Because in the NFL, man, these coaches, that's all they do. So you have to come up with a new flavor every week. You got to have a little spin-off. Some guys are good enough where you can't stop them every week. But usually they're going to come in with a different strategy each week. And I think Jordan Addison is going to be just going against the number two corner, and they can't guard him. So he's going to have touchdown upside. I hit the other week for his touchdown, anytime touchdown. All right. So let's move on. Jordan Addison, guys, good player, fourth quadrant player. Moving on, let's go to a tight end hybrid, guys. It's going to be Taysom Hill. New Orleans Saints, guys, this offense is not regular anymore. Like they're not going to try to score like they got a big time quarterback or anything like that. So it's going to be Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill, far as the only guys that they can trust. Chris Olave is a good little talent. I hate to say little, right? Pause, but he's a slot wide receiver trying to play the alpha wide receiver. And so this team is going to be running the ball a lot with Alvin, passing it to Alvin, and letting Taysom Hill be the goal line running back, and also run gadget plays with Taysom Hill. I also like Johnson, but that's another video. Jawan Johnson is a little solid top tight end too that I would pick up and play if I need. But yes, guys, Taysom Hill. Um, all right, let's move on to the guy who balled out last week. Is JSN. Now listen, Jackson Smith and Jigba plays for the Seattle Seahawks. I love DK Metcalf, but after that game, I don't think you can put that all the way back in. Now, listen, you can put it in the box, but you can't put the zip ties back on it. Like you got to give Jackson Smith and Jigba 7 targets. I don't give a damn what anybody says. If you got to trade Tyler Lockett, trade him. If you keep Tyler Lockett, you stunting JSN. JSN needs 7 targets a game, no matter if DK there, or Kenneth Walker healthy or he's not healthy. JSN deserves 7 targets a game. I'm not saying he deserves more targets than DK, but he deserves 7 targets. If that's more than Tyler Lockett, it's more than Tyler Lockett. So if I right now JSN, I know this is a high for JSN, so you're not gonna really get him on a low. But if you got JSN, I would feel good and I would put him in as a flex, unless you got pure studs that's better than him. But if it's close, I'm playing JSN. I'm playing JSN over Calvin Ridley. I'm playing him probably over Jordan Addison, but it's close, right? But that's how much I feel about Jordan Addison. I think he's a great player. Not great player, but I think he's a great fantasy football player, and he's a good football player too. He's got great routes and he's strong. He's built like Amara. He's a poor man Amara St. Brown. So yeah, JSN. I think he's going to be a good fourth quadrant player that's going to be getting hyper target underneath. Gino looked good when he was hyper targeting JSN. All right, let's move on to Marvin Harrison Jr. from the Arizona Cardinals. Now listen, this is a little bit of a volatile play, but I like the upside. So if you got like some of these weak flex guys, try to go get Marvin Harrison Jr. People are tired of Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm willing to go buy that because I know that they want him to get him the ball. Is it going to happen every single week? No. But I know the coaches are drawing up plays for Marvin Harrison. Collar is sitting in the meetings. Okay, this is when I look for Marvin. This is how we're going to get Marvin the ball this week. They got to get Marvin. He's a top 5 pick. Is he the number? He's the number 1 overall. No, he's the number 2 overall pick. So Marvin Harrison Jr. guys, I think he's going to be a great fourth quadrant type player. By that time, he's not going to be a rookie anymore, and Kyler Lim is going to have a plan to get him the ball. So that's why I like Marvin Harrison Jr. And last but not least, guys, is going to be Brian Thomas Jr. He coming off that pec injury, chest injury, whatever you want to call it. This is the time to get him. This is the time to get him. People, he might be hurt, and then they gave more targets to other people. This is the time to get Brian Thomas Jr. I think this guy. The only reason why they didn't hyper target him because he was hurt. That's why Parker Washington got all those targets. I think Brian Thomas Jr. guys is going to be one of the best wide receivers in the last 4 weeks of the season. I'm talking about the whole season, not just fantasy football season of the season. That's why he's a fourth quadrant piece. Rookie wide receivers like him break out every single year at the end of the season. So go get him. This is a great. I was so glad that he had kind of have a bad game. I lost in a couple leagues, but I won in a lot of leagues, and I got Brian on my team. So I'm like, might be able to get him in even more leagues, and I'm trying to go get him today. I'm trying to go get Brian Thomas Jr. today. All right, so those are my 12 guys that are going to be fourth quadrant players, and some of these guys overlap, but I'm gonna keep, no pun intended, and pause. I'm gonna keep forcing these players down your throat. Pause. Because these are important players. So I might not make a video on them every day, but I want y'all to know I'm still on these players, and so sprinkle them on your line in your lineups. All right, so let's get to some of these questions, and then we'll get out of here. All right, we got Dustin Poole. What's up, bruh? Dustin Poole says, "Good afternoon, TD. Yes, sir. We got Big Will in the house. He says 100. Big Will says, my Commanders got Lattimore. I think that's a good move if you to win this year. I think they can win a Super Bowl with Jaden Daniels. They trying to go for the gusto. So why? Because there's no other reason why they would make that move if they don't think they can win a Super Bowl this year. So I like the Marshawn Lattimore move. Dustin Poole says, got them votes in today. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dustin says Dak's out. So would you pivot to Rodgers or Stafford or Tua or Herbert? Bro, I'm not gonna sit here and cap. I haven't looked at all the schedules for the rest of the year for all these players because you got to do that right now. It's not a week by week thing. You have to look at that fourth quadrant. I like Herbert. Mm. I would say Herbert, Stafford, Rogers, Tour. All of them are good. I stream them anytime, any week. It depends on how I feel, how I feel about the other team's defense. But all those guys are good. But I'm gonna put Herbert as the number one this week. It could, if he go out there, man, he throw for 100 yards this week, it could be back to Stafford or Rogers, right? So I'm just being honest with you. But right now, I'm high on Herbert. I'm high on Herbert. Mark says, all right, hold up, guys. Lost my place. Mark says, YouTube. He says, TD 7-2, standard scoring. My wide receiver room is shot. Only Pittman, Odunze, and Higgins. Thinking of trading Mahomes, Ferguson, Otten, or Taysom Hill for a wide receiver upgrade. Any suggestions? I like Brian Thomas Jr. I think you can level up with him and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So if somebody really need Mahomes, I don't know your scoring format, but try to offer him somebody and you can go get Amon-Ra. It's a couple really upper echelon wide receivers that are a little volatile right now that you can get. Garrett Wilson. I like Garrett Wilson. So I would say Garrett Wilson and Brian Thomas Jr. Those are two guys that I think you could trade for. Dustin says, I got D-Hop and Worthy, but I dropped Worthy for Taysom Hill because I got McBride on the bye next week. Thoughts? Yeah, I don't see there's nothing wrong with Worthy. Worthy's volatile. I haven't started him since like week 2 or 3 in one league. You dropping him to get a win. There's nothing wrong with that. And you got a Taysom Hill who can be a starter for you weekly and 2 something change. So you didn't drop him for chopped liver. Dustin says I got Lamb, Debo, Harrison Jr. and Downs also. Okay. Yeah, you got a good, so you got Debo, you got Harrison Jr. Debo's a little volatile right now. Harrison Jr. hasn't been playing and Lamb got an injury. So you do kind of probably need some help. I got D Hop and Worthy, but I dropped Worthy for Taysom Hill. So yeah, you got D Hop. So yeah, you got a good squad. You got a good squad. Conscious says I got my butt whooped this weekend. Oh well, 5-4, second in points, fourth seed. Let's go. That's what fantasy is about. I lose a lot of times where I still feel good about my team. Right? I got Lamar. I got certain guys. Hey, it happens. You can't. It's fantasy football. Like I remember somebody asked me about Kyler Murray, bro. I would tell you to start Kyler Murray again. That's what he's going to be. If you're looking for some perfect quarterback, bro, I can't. I don't got no perfect quarterback. Now, if you didn't get draft Lamar or Josh Allen, somebody like that, and then at this point in time, you looking for somebody who ain't gonna give you 5 points, I don't know who to tell you because any quarterback can give you 5 points. It's the upside that they got, especially if they win in the game with 5 points. Like right now, Jared Goff is killing it in real life, but he's not. He don't have great fantasy numbers because they don't need it. So you got to understand that. So you play Jared Goff knowing that he don't have all the upside, and he looks good. I'd rather have players that look good than to have players just to get scoring garbage time. I think Kyler Murray is a good quarterback. I think he can score anytime on the field with his rushing ability, and he also could throw a deep ball anytime. Um, Charlene says, "Hey TD, which DSTs for the rest of the season? Packers or Lions? I like the Lions. I think they got it. They next 3 to 4 matchups is really really good against teams that are struggling. Packers are on by this week, like to just one DST. Right. I think the Lions is a good DST for the next 3 weeks. Okay, we got a super chat in the building, guys. I gotta let me see. Let me get to all messages. There we go. Great Team Alliance says, "Do you think I should pick up Calvin Austin?" Yes, depending on what you got. There's other better players out there. I would rather pick up Cedric Tillman over Calvin Austin. There's a few more players that I might rather pick up over Calvin Austin. But Calvin Austin is definitely a good stash because he can score anywhere on the field. Yes, they're gonna have Mike Williams. Yes, they're gonna have George Pickens. But Calvin Austin gonna be coming underneath, and the defense, if they whiff, he gone. So they're gonna try to take deep shots with Russell Wilson with Calvin because they know he's fast. He ran like a 4.2. So I like Calvin Austin, but it just depends on what's out there on your waivers. That's why I like to do consultations. I'm not gonna sit here and guys, get a consultation. Why y'all ain't getting consultation? I'm not gonna beg you. It's on you if you want to win or not. I mean, I've helped plenty of everybody that came in as a consultation, they came out better. I'm not saying they won a championship, but I had plenty of people said I'm not gonna make the playoffs, and then they go get a consultation and they make the playoffs. But they say from the beginning, oh man, I missed it, man, I messed up. I'm like, you good? We're gonna make the playoffs. So I like Calvin Austin as a pickup. Appreciate it, Great Team Alliance. Appreciate the super chat, bruh. Okay. So Dustin says I'm 6-3 in second now in my favorite league. I pull first for 7 weeks straight. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Good job, bruh. Conscious says praying Nico is 100. Man, I don't know if he's going to be healthy this week because of it's a hamstring injury, but he's coming back, man. You're just going to have to weather the storm, bro. Just keep that in that fighting playoff spot. That's all it's about. Conscious says I'm about to roll out Kittle and Ott the rest of the season. Nothing wrong with that. Cutting edge content, bro. My first year playing fantasy, I rolled out Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce. And I went on a 7 game win streak. I didn't lose until the last game to win to get in the playoffs because I had lost. I was like 2 and something, and I went on like a 7 game. No, it might have been 1 or something, 1 and 6, and I won 7 straight games. So that's how it happens with 2 tight ends, Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews when they both broke out. He says I played them both on tight ends day. I gotta keep them both in my flex, right? Contra says also won't mind if Mason could get one more lead back game. CMC should rest. Right. I like that. That's how I'd be thinking too. Facts. Destin says I would too, conscious. That's right. Rest CMC one more game. Charlene says looks like the Cowboys are broken on offense and defense for now. Hopefully they can come back. Yeah, it's just how it happens. Teams go through this. The Bengals struggled early. They look like they got it. They got it going again. I'm always just looking to weather the storm or moving on. I didn't draft any Dak Prescott. I didn't draft any CD Lamb. Not because I knew this. It's because I'm a Cowboy fan and I know that we not optimal. I want optimal players. I thought Tyreek and Tua was optimal. I knew that Tua could go down with a concussion and it happened, but I'm okay with that. That's so if you got to be okay with the Cowboys going through what they're going through if you draft a CD Lamb. Every time I draft a player, I already got everything in my head what can happen. So let me tell you why I think that the Colts did Anthony Richardson wrong. It's listen, is it wrong for them to bench Anthony Richardson if they want to win? No, but I'm gonna tell you their plan is garbage. Why in the hell would you ever start Anthony Richardson if you ever think that he could, if he throw 5 interceptions, you're gonna bench him? I'm not gonna do that. And like if I start a rookie, I'm gonna let him play the whole season because I believe in him. I'm starting him as a rookie. He got to be elite. I'm not gonna bench him in the middle of the season. I don't care how bad it get. I'll lose my job. That's how I believe. I believe the psychology of a player is bigger than what he's like. Him going out and just having a big game. Like I want his psychology to be right. And I don't think Anthony Richardson, you playing with his psychology. Why would you? You should have knew that he was volatile with his accuracy. You should have knew that he hadn't played up but 10 games. Listen, man, you sit, Anthony. Oh, I'm sitting. Yeah, we're gonna sit you for the first year. We might sit you again. Just like Michael Penix. That's why Atlanta, they're not worried about no Michael Penix. He's sitting. I don't even know if they want him to come in if Kirk Cousins go down. Now I could be just exaggerating, but they had a plan. It don't matter if Michael Penix beat out Kirk Cousins in in practice. So have a plan for fantasy football. Stick with your plan. So the Cowboys are they volatile? I mean I knew they could be volatile, and I know I'm not getting on you, Charlene, because I know you knew. But I just want people to get in that mindset of, oh, I don't care what's going on with Marvin Harrison Jr. I've drafted him. I'm waiting on him. Like I want you to have that mentality, because if not, everybody you're gonna give your cookies away every time. So I don't want him. Tell you who should I pick up, and you passing off good players. What's up, Harambe? King of Nike said, "What's good, TD?" Eric says, "Zay Flowers a sell high." No, Sari. Now listen, I'm not telling you, Eric, that you can't sell him high. But Zay Flowers to me is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. That's why I said he was going to be a top 5 wide receiver this year. He's not there quite, but you see the potential. I love Zay Flowers. Um, if you want to sell, if you, I don't play fantasy that way. I don't sell players just because they had a boom week. Like if I believe in them, yeah, I believe in Zay. I don't think Zay got lucky and had a boom game. If this was Chris Olave, I would tell you hell yeah, sell on him. If this was Mike Evans, I'd be like hell yeah, sell on him. This is Zay Flowers. Him. Zay like that. I'm not surprised that what he's doing. If they actually would pepper him, he would have 200 yards in those games. He had 125 yards in the first quarter one game, but they quit going at him. That's what Baltimore does. They winning, so I'm not going to say anything about it. But I don't agree with that, and I'm going to start sticking to my guns more. The more and more I learn the way to do this fantasy thing, giving advice, the more and more I can stick to my guns. But I want to be fair to y'all. I don't want to be just a quick answer and tell you nope. What are you doing? And move on. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to break it down to you. Zay Flowers is a great player. These are one of my pillar players. I don't think you should trade him. But if you want to, that's on you. What should it be trying to acquire him? MHJ. Ain't no way in the world I give up Zay Flowers for no MHJ. Ain't no way in the world I would do it, Eric. No way. Deal devoted. What's up, bruh? He says Leggett is these guys is the guy now. Yes, sir. Yes, him and Coker, they giving them to the rookies. They letting them go. I like Leggett. I'm playing Leggett. I stashed him on a lot of my teams, so I'm okay with playing Leggett as a flex play or a wide receiver 3. He's a good play. Even with Bryce Young playing, I like the way Bryce Young has looked the last couple of games. He looks decent enough to have a top 20 or top 24 wide receiver. King of Nike says, I dropped Zach Moss and added Khalil Herbert. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you, King of Nike. Khalil Herbert, just another guy. Chase Brown is the guy. Chase Brown is the guy. I know somebody asked me the other day, I think it was a Conscious Machine, and he asked me, he said, hey, TD, what do you think about Dalvin Cook? I said, just another guy. He laughed. I said, bro, I ain't being funny. He's just another guy. I don't look at fantasy. When they bring in certain guys, if he hit, he hit. I missed. That's okay. I'm not gonna sit here. Let me do research on Dalvin. I don't got time to do no research on no Dalvin Cook. Oh no, Khalil Herbert. I'm on Tracy. I'm on these other guys. I'm on these other guys. I don't got time for that. And you might say, well, Tita, that's not what are you doing? Guys, everything that's good for you ain't good for you. Just because somebody's available on waivers don't mean that you should be picking them up. Khalil Herbert, I don't think it's a bad pickup because he's a good depth piece. If something happens to Chase Brown, Khalil Herbert gonna get the workload, so that's fine. But I don't want y'all to be every time somebody is available and they get traded, you think they're going to be like a big time player. Usually I'm pretty good with that, but I understand if you do pick up a guy because you don't know, right? And so I'm not chastising anybody, but I'm just letting you know, don't think everybody that gets traded to a team is going to be good for you in fantasy. And he probably going to waste your time and hold up your bench. D Lion in the building says, uh-oh. Dill Devoted says D Hop is the chief of staff in that wideout group. Facts. Facts. Charlene says John Domingo, just another guy. Now listen, I could be totally wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not worried about no Jonathan Mingo. I'm not picking him up on my team. Ain't no way in the world Cooper Rush gonna go out here and give Jonathan Mingo a touchdown a game or 8-9 targets every game. He end up being a top 24 guy. It's no way this is gonna happen. If it happens, I could be wrong. And I'm gonna come on here and say, guys, I was wrong. So if y'all want to pick up Mingo, it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. But I don't think Mingo is going to be any good. I think he's going to be okay. He's going to be another body out there to get a couple targets to keep the defense honest. I still would rather have Tolbert than to have Mingo. As far as if I got to choose between those two guys. I see you, Mr. Anderson. Um, okay. Father 3 says, what's good, bruh? Started 1-4, stayed down, and now 5-4. Job's not done, but you gotta weather the storm till it's sunny out. I'm telling you. Preach, Father 3. Dill says, Garrett Wilson, glad I made that trade for him and D-Hop. Good job, bro. Good job. CHB says, I'm voting for Lamar Jackson or Jaden Daniels for MVP. Yes. Yes. I actually think it's a couple guys. I think Jared Goff is an MVP candidate. I think right now I would say Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, and I would throw Jaden Daniels in there probably as number 3 for the quarterbacks. Derrick Henry's in there too, but he's not past the quarterbacks. Not yet. D-Line says, just remember, whoever wins or loses, we still have football Thursday to make it all better. Right. Facts. James Ayola says, good morning. Appreciate that, James. I'm doing good. Ed Tay in the middle. What's up, bruh? Charlie said, just like a Chinese restaurant serving burritos, they don't mix. Right. Facts. Harambe says, I knew Coach Harbaugh would help Quinton Johnston. You said that. I remember you saying that early this year. Nino says, in a 12-man redraft, you think Worthy and Jordan Mason droppable at this point? I will hold off on Mason, but Worthy can be dropped, but you got to drop him for the right player. Don't drop Worthy for Josh Palmer, right? Would I drop him for Quinton Johnston? Yes, I would. But Quinton Johnson is the level that I would drop. I'm not dropping him for chop liver. But right now, I can't think of a certain player. But I'm trying. But Quinton Johnson, I would drop Xavier Worthy for Quinton Johnson. But it's got to be that type of player. I'd rather have Kansas City players stashed that's getting targets from Pat Mahomes than to have some guy that's on a raggedy offense hoping that he hit. So would I have Jonathan Mingo or Worthy? I'm not picking up no Jonathan Mingo. I'm not dropping no Worthy to pick up no Mingo. Not now. Like I'm not saying I'm gonna be right, but if Mingo start hitting, then yeah, address that then. But right now, no, I'm not picking up no Mingo. I'm keeping Worthy over Mingo. Rami says double tap the screen, guys. Let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. Charlene says Mike Williams went to the Steelers. He did. I don't think he's just another guy. I think he's going to help balance this team where Calvin Austin can work underneath and Pat Frymuth can work underneath. That's what I think. And Mike Williams is also a good blocker too. He's a big dude. Pause. Conscious says I need a running back this week for Walker. Mason isn't likely to lead the 49ers, and I have Algier and Davis on the bench. Just had Kittle on a bye and Love on a bye this week, so my roster is tight with two tight ends and two quarterbacks. I'm playing against Bijan, so whether Algier steals a touchdown for Bijan, it helps me even if he's on the bench, if that makes sense. I'm thinking Ray Davis is worth 10 touches for the Bills again. He is. He's getting that work. If you got James Cook, you gotta have Ray Davis. Or if you just got Ray Davis, he's a great stash. Tron says trade D Hop and Njoku for Kittle. No. Trade D Hop and Njoku for Kittle. No. Mm-mm. No way. Or do you see somewhere I should drop for Taysom? Or do you see someone I should drop for Taysom Hill? Madison or Mostert. You can drop Madison or Mostert for Taysom Hill. I probably would drop Madison for Taysom Hill. Jordan Pillar says all love and support your way, TD. Thank you. Appreciate that, Jordan. User 279 says, what's good, TD? What's good, bruh? User 279 says, Jim has done good with the Chargers. Right, he has. He has. Got a new super chat from Frizz. He's always super chatting. Appreciate that, Frizz. He says, my top wide receiver is Zay and Smith. Do I need to upgrade rest of the season? No. It depends on your running backs. Because sometimes Devontae Smith is fine. I would tell you if you could like wait till Devontae Smith have a big time game and then you could go get somebody like maybe a Brian Thomas Jr. I'm trying to think of somebody who's getting a lot of targets. But Zay, I think you need to keep Zay, even though he's volatile. But Devontae Smith, he's kind of volatile. So if you want somebody that's a little bit more consistent, a little bit more consistent than Smith, I think you can wait till he have a big game or you can do it right now and trade. I'm trying to think of somebody that you could get. I like Brian Thomas Jr. or Malik Neighbors, somebody like that. They getting a lot of targets, but I think Zay and Smith is fine, especially if you got like Saquon Barkley and Bijan. You good. You don't need top end wide receivers. Let those wide receivers play and get you that boom. Because if you keep trying to trade to a guy with a name just to get the boom, you miss the boom. You got to give space for your players who's trying to get better. You got to give space for Zay, right? If you trade him, you actually just discounting who he's trying to become. Let him play and see what you got. You might be shocked. You might got the best wide receiver in the NFL. So be careful with just trading him, right? I think he's special. But if you can go and get Justin Jefferson, I've never, yeah, that's different. I would probably trade both of them for Justin Jefferson. I would be okay with that. Appreciate that, Frizz. Got another super chat from Frizz. Okay. He says, my running backs are Mixon and Bijan. Okay, I knew you had nice running backs. And you in a 14 team. Oh, yeah, man, 14-man league? Hell yeah, you good, bruh. That's killer wide receivers in a 14-team league. He says my running backs are Mixon and Dijon. Okay, Mixon is killing and having a great year. Dijon is elite. About get ready to be a top 3 running back. I got Olave, Leggett. Okay, you got Leggett. I like a Leggett. Olave, man. No, I can't speak on Olave. But Pop Douglas and Leggett are good. Yeah, man. I think you're fine. I will hold pat. I will hold pat. Appreciate you, friends, for the super chat. Yes, sir. Okay. Okay. What the hell? That's not my beginning of my chat. I'm sorry, guys. I just want to make sure I get back to where I was at. Okay. All right, let me get to where I was at. Okay, I think I see it now. Okay, here we go. So Jordan, okay, yeah. So user 279 says, "What's good, TD? Jim has done good with the Chargers." Chris says, "I'm chancing that Calvin Austin this week. I'm chancing Calvin Austin this week. I had Myers as my wide receiver 3. Um, man, Myers is getting targeted crazy. I think Calvin Austin is an upside play, but I think Myers is a better play. I would rather play Myers over Calvin Austin. Now, Calvin Austin can outscore him, but we talking about the safe play or just playing a guy who could give you 3 points. Like Calvin Austin can give you 2 points, but he could give you 20 points too. So you make sure if you play one of those guys, you know what you're doing, right? Okay, there we go. I'm back at my spot now. Okay. Charlene says Jonathan Mingo went to the Cowboys, right? And I don't. Somebody asked me today, TD, how you feel about Jonathan Mingo go to the Cowboys? Chop liver. I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm used to stars, so I'm spoiled rotten. That's why I'm discounting Jonathan Mingo. And actually, just watching this game, he's a solid player, but I don't think he's gonna make a difference in anybody fantasy team or a real life team. Connie says, let's get that 50 like quick. I want 100 like today. Yeah, let's get the likes up, guys. Let's get the likes up. Caitlin, what's up, Caitlin? You can get the shout out. I'm glad you subscribed. Charlene says the Commanders have a tough matchups in the second half of the season. Daniels will be tested, right? Right, but to me, I think he's going to be good. I haven't seen any weakness where he's going to struggle against certain defenses. Tedrick, what's up, Tedrick? He says TJ Hawkinson should get 2 touchdowns Sunday against the Jags. Shit, I'm not surprised. DK is going to get traded, and I think you're right. I've been saying that I think DK because listen, I don't like the way DK acts on the sideline. He acts like a diva sometimes, and I get it because that's the type of person that he is. But sometimes coaches can't coach you, man, and they rather move on. And I hate to say that. People probably said the same thing about me because I had an opinion about stuff. And sometimes coaches just don't want to deal with that. And I understand it as an older guy, but I still think DK is a good player. But I agree with you. I think he could get traded too. But I don't. At the end of the season, he didn't get traded today, so it'll probably be at the end of the season. Tedrick says Marvin Harrison Jr. is the truth. He's a good player. Eric says trade Flowers and Tua for Mahomes and MHJ. No, I would keep Flowers and Tua. I would keep Flowers and Tua. Now, I like Mahomes over Tua, but I can't tell you to trade Flowers for MHJ. Charlene says Pacheco and Gus are coming back soon. Right. I don't. You think Gus gonna get a lot of carries with the way JK is playing? I know Pacheco gonna get some carries. Mr. Skrilla, what's up, bruh? Chris says someone offered me Tracy for D Hop. Would you make that trade? Chris, if I got plenty of wide receivers and I need a running back, yes, I'm doing it. I think that's a great running back three to have on your team. If he's the third best running back on your team, you killing it. You ready to win a fantasy football championship. Um Tracy, man, he look how he did against the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you can run on the Pittsburgh Steelers, you can run on anybody. So I think Tracy is like a league winner. That's why I had him. Actually, I didn't have him in the fourth quadrant because I'm. Y'all know how I feel about Tyrone Tracy. That's why I didn't have him listed on the fourth quadrant. But he's definitely a fourth quadrant guy. Mr. Skrilla says, should I start Laporta or Andrew this week? Man, I don't feel great about it. I didn't feel great about it last week. I keep saying Laporta. They need Laporta now. Jameson Williams is back, but it's so many mouths to feed. It's almost outside of Zay Flowers. I don't want to start anybody for Baltimore. So I want to start Zay Flowers, Lamar, and King Henry. Outside of that, man, the rest of the guys are going to be like musical chairs. I'm gonna say Laporta again, just because there's so many players on for the Baltimore Ravens. But Andrews is not a bad start. I feel okay about starting Andrews, but I would just pick Laporta over Andrews just because it's not that many people that's trying to get targets. It's a few. I'm not saying Detroit ain't got nobody, but Laporta role is different than what Andrews' role right now. Where Andrews is splitting with Kolar and Likely and Deontay Johnson and Justice Hill. So it's just a lot of guys on that team. Um, King of Nike says, TD, I had Ramondre, Zay, and JSN on the bench and still won. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. And I like the attitude. Even if you would have lost, where I like, now you know what you got. You know, like, okay, I got to find a way to be able to get JSN in here or Zay in here. Ramondre, I can still leave him out just depending if I need him or not. Bro, every week is a better decision making skill set. Every week is a better decision making skill set. Every week I get more comfortable with my stars and sets because sometimes I make plays just to see what's going to happen, right? And then as time go on, I know what you is. I know what JSN is. He's a guy that he can boom and he gonna get some targets. So you got to get him in your lineup now. Good job, bro. Way to have you got a good team. Joe Blow says we trading Trace Brown with Khalil Herbert coming to town. No, sir, Joe Blow. No, sir. HK says I am a friend. Hello. Okay. Mr. Squiller says Shakir, Cooper, Pickens, Sutton. Who should I start? All right, it's real early, bro. I haven't really looked at the schedule, but let me look over it. I'm gonna say Pickens. I'm gonna say George Pickens. I'm starting George Pickens. CD says, should I start Jackson Smith and Jigba or Xavier Worthy? I'm starting Jackson Smith and Jigba over Xavier Worthy. And don't be surprised if Xavier Worthy have a lone touchdown. He plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, but that's not what we playing. We're not playing. Oh, he had one big play. We know Xavier Worthy can do that, but we got to make a start today. Like we have to get in the mood of well, we got to go with what we know. Like we hope that Xavier Worthy could get a long touchdown, but we haven't seen it like consistently. But when Jackson Smith and Jigba, when DK is out, we see he can be the number one wide receiver in fantasy. So you got to go with Jackson Smith and Jigba off of that, and you can't worry about what is Xavier Worthy. I don't play that game. I know y'all want me to play that game, and I mean that lightly. But TD, who gonna be the best? this guy or that guy, and I'm not going to do that. That's a setup because Xavier Worthy can have one big boom week, and y'all don't know how to break down. Well, look, that dude had 2 targets, and he hit 180-yard touchdown. Jackson Smith-Jigba had 9 targets, and he called it for 70 yards. He didn't have a touchdown because they got a holding call. You got to be able to make sense of everything like that. So Jackson Smith and Jigba should be an easy start over Xavier Worthy, no matter what the results is. The Gone Network says who wins in Dynasty PPR? Breach Hall and Braylon Allen for Monty and Waddle plus 2 first-round picks. I would say it depends on what type of team you got. The Gone Network. If you in win now mode, then Breach Hall and Braylon Allen is the best side. If you are building for the future, and you don't think you can win it this year, then Monty and Waddle plus the 2 first-round picks is the best one. But win now, Breach Hall, Braylon Allen. You building your team for the future, Waddle plus the 2 first rounds. Conscious says alert, the Bears wide receiver have 2 games versus the Lions, 2 games versus the Vikings, and a cheese matchup rating rest of the season. Check it out. Right, that's facts. A Dunze, but it looks like they trending down. But I do like a Dunze as a stash. Outside of that, man, I can't. I'm not gonna sit here and try to put. I don't even want to be held accountable. Like conscious of you tell me, hey, I told you, bro. I can't get to everybody. I can't get to no team that have 3 or 4 bad weeks and think that I'm gonna hit the right player that end up coming back and booming. I don't. I have no clue about the Bears, and I really don't want anybody off the Bears. Now, if DJ Moore comes out this week and balls for 2 games in a row, maybe I get back on somebody. But if Adunze does it for 2 weeks, I still don't know if I think Adunze gonna be a good player for me, man. It's been volatile all year. It's been volatile all year. And it's a lot of good players out there. There's a lot of good candy out there on the waivers and on teams that people can get before I start worrying about the Bears. I talked about Caleb as a start of the week and I got burned. I'm not doing that again, per se. Great team alliances. Appreciate you, bro. Anytime. Royster Dorster says, "What's your views on the games being played in London?" I like it. I want football to be all over the world. I think like a businessman. Let me give y'all a debate that I had at work, and y'all let me know in the chat. I'm looking in the chat. I said that Jerry is one of the best owners of any sports franchise ever in the history of the world. And I think as a fan, he's the greatest, one of the greatest owners. Now, you could talk about he don't know what he's talking about. You can say all of that. This is what I can tell you. You ready for me to tell you if you want to talk about what Jerry's doing? Because we all can look at somebody and go inside their dirty clothes and see shit stains in their drawers. If you looking for something, you'll go find it. But this is what I'm gonna tell you about Jerry Jones. Michael Irvin, one of the greatest leaders ever at the wide receiver position. We never saw a leader on a team at the wide receiver position. The number one rusher of all time that Jerry paid, Emmitt Smith, a quarterback who was very humble, that run rings, and he was okay with that. You got Deion Sanders that he paid more than anybody in the history. At that point in time, they thought he was crazy. He also got control for the NFL so they could market to their own teams. So my point is, I think you got to look at the bigger picture. It's the bigger picture for what Jerry did for the NFL, and that was my point going into about the London game. The bigger picture is football gonna be all over the world. Everybody that's a part of that family gonna eat because you can go over to China and you can coach or you can do whatever. Just like basketball, they built it all around the world. So I like the London games. I know it's tough on the players right now, but hopefully we can get enough teams in the NFL where you won't have to go and fly over in London and be have jet lag. Hopefully you can be over there for 2 or 3 weeks, play your guys, and come back over, have a bye. Hopefully that happens. So I'm okay with London games. Right, right. I hear you, conscious. Right. Hey, hey, you sure you ain't never made no mistake your whole life? If somebody go in there and keep looking in your dirty clothes hamper, they gonna find something. That's just how it go, man. That's how life go. Nobody's perfect. um, Conscious says 50 chatters. Where's the 50 likes? Big Mac says, who should you rather have rest of the season, DJ Moore or Marvin Harrison Jr.? I probably go with Marvin Harrison Jr. Conscious says not London, it's in Germany. Yeah, both places, Germany, London, Mexico, China, Japan. It doesn't matter. I think we should get football all over the world. It's going to be better for us because I would love to see sumo wrestlers playing offensive line. We're going to be in trouble. Michael Parsons and them can't get past some sumo wrestlers. They quick now. Them dudes 300-400 pounds and can block and can move side to side. So I would love to see other. I would love to see an African team. I would love to see Usain Bolt playing wide receiver. That's why. That's how I'm thinking. But I don't want to get off topic. Um, Roster. See, Allen also suggested for next year. Okay. Conscious Machine says, hit that thumbs up for TD. Let's get the thumbs up, guys. Let's get the likes up. SK Knox says, should I drop Laporta and pick up Taysom Hill? I have Tucker Craft on the buy as well. I don't know your team, but bro, the best play is Taysom Hill. So do what you may do with that. I don't want to tell you to drop Laporta. I'm not going to drop Laporta. But would I find a way to pick up Taysom Hill? So if I had to drop Laporta to make sure I get the win that week, yeah, I would do it. But I don't want to do it if I don't have to. But yes, Taysom Hill is the best player. So do what you got to do, bro, to win. I will hopefully you can stash Laporta, but if you can't, then drop him. B Silva says, does the Bengals' acquisition of Khalil Herbert affect the output of Chase Brown? No, sir, not at all. Will Chase Brown repeat these type of numbers like he did Sunday? Yes. Yes. King of Nike says, I picked him up as a handcuff. I have Chase Brown. Okay. Uh, Tail Dog says, greetings, bro. Is it time to bench Marvin Harrison Jr.? Is Garendo a good waiver wire pickup? Appreciate your content. Garendo is a good waiver wire stash. He's not a pickup because we know that CMC is coming back. We know that Jordan Mason is still active. So Garendo is just a stash for right now to see what happens. Marvin Harrison Jr., you can bench him if you got better players. But if you don't, you need to just put him in and let him mature in your lineup because when he booms, you don't want him to be on your bench and you lose. So it just depends on what type of wide receivers you got on your team. Mark Reese says Kincaid or Hunter Henry this week. I'm going with if Drake May plays, I'm going with Hunter Henry over Kincaid. Too many mouths to feed. Now, Kincaid played okay last week. I don't know if Amari Cooper is going to be out, but I like Hunter Henry with Drake May. I think Hunter Henry and Drake May has chemistry. Big Mac said, okay, that's okay. Kelvin says, star who? Debo, Jamison Williams, or Calvin Ridley. Also, Justice Hill or Javante Williams. Lastly, Burrow of golf. I think I'm going with Burrow over golf. Let me make sure. I'm going with Burrow because they playing against the Ravens. They are funnel defense. You can start your pass catchers against the Baltimore Ravens right now. They're not a bad defense, but they can give up some passing yards. Um, so I would start Burrow over golf. And let's see. I would start a healthy Debo over Jamison Williams and Calvin Ridley. And then you says also Justice Hill or Javante Williams. I'm gonna say neither. But if you got to start one, I would say I don't like neither one of those starts. I would try to get Jamison Williams, but you probably can't do it because you got to have a runner back there. I guess I go with Javante, but I don't feel great about it. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that now, Kelvin. So I would say Javante over Justice Hill and Debo over Jamison Williams and Calvin Ridley and Burrow. Got another super chat in the building from Mondo. He says trade Aaron Jones, Kincaid for Jacobs and Ingram. It's between listen, Kincaid and Ingram. I'm not gonna split hairs with those two. Ingram is a little bit better, but I'm not. It's not about them. The real trade is Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs. I'm gonna say Aaron Jones because I think this offense. I like Aaron Jones. He's volatile, but I'm gonna go with Aaron Jones because he catch passes. He's getting goal line touches too. I like Aaron. I'm gonna say Aaron Jones over Josh Jacobs. So maybe I wouldn't trade Aaron Jones. I would keep Aaron Jones. I like Aaron Jones. Now he's volatile. He's volatile, but I just like him. I like his role on the Minnesota Vikings. Appreciate the super chat, Mondo. Um, Rico, he says, "How you like Tracy projection up?" Yes, I love Tyrone Tracy. That's who you talking about? Yes, I love Tracy projection up. I love Tyrone. I think he's going to be a top 12 running back rest of the season. Rio James says Colts will not be contending for a conference title. Waste of time. Benching AR after that performance Sunday. Right, right, right. They got to go down with that. Mr. G says Ramondre Stevenson Waddle for Brian Thomas Jr. Yes, if you don't need Ramondre and Waddle, if those are like if Waddle is like your wide receiver three and Ramondre is your RB2, RB3, I think that's a great trade, bro. But don't trade these guys if you start them on a weekly buys. But I'm pretty sure you're not. Siobhan says, "Hey TD, catching you live. Appreciate it. Thank you, Siobhan. Always showing support. Always." Kelvin says, "Start who?" Okay, yeah, we did that one already. Kelvin, are you spamming the chat? Hey, Kelvin, you wasn't the one spamming the chat the other day, was you? Because guys, y'all know how I feel about spamming the chat. Don't spam the chat. Do not spam that chat. I read everybody comment for hours. So I don't tolerate spamming the chat. I'm too fair-minded. I read too now. If I was skipping the questions, I would just ignore it, because I understand why people might spam the chat. Mr. T, you said, "TD, would you trade D Hop for Tracy non-PPR?" Yeah, I would. It's a cutting edge, man, but it's non-PPR. I'm going with the running back. My backs are A Chain, Gibbs, Robinson, Bixby, and Brooks. So now you got to be able to start Tracy. If you can't start Tracy, don't make the trade. So if you can start A Chain, Gibbs, Robinson, and Tracy, if you can start all four of them, do it. But if you can't start all four and one of them gonna be sitting on the bench, I wouldn't do it. I would just hold on to D Hop. Adam Field says, "Are you stashing Mike Williams? Possible deep ball threat?" Nope. I'm not stashing no Mike Williams. No, sir. Mr. Anderson says, "My bad. Pick two out of these guys: Addison, Jennings, Ridley, Quinton Johnston." I'm going to say Quinton Johnson and Addison. Quinton Johnson and Addison. And Quinton Johnson is a volatile play, but he got that boom. Now, Ridley is a little bit safer than Quinton. And Jennings, I don't know. I think Jennings is a little volatile, especially with Ricky Pearsall playing good. I actually like Ricky Pearsall a little bit over Jennings. That's just me, though. So I would say Quinton and Addison. Kevin, you spam in the chat. Let me writing that down. Jamar Joseph, what's up, Jamar? He says drop worthy for downs. Yes, I'm okay with that. I think that's a good move. Paul Wynn, what's up, Paul? What's up, bruh? Jimmy's T said you didn't try to smash Tara Roberts. She got some nice touchdowns. I'm not gonna respond to that, bruh. I'm not gonna respond to that. Um, she's cute. She might now, man. If I want to have her come on my show, she might play this and say, "Hey, I don't feel comfortable on your show, and I'm gonna charge you, Jimmy. I'm gonna charge you for it." Um, Be growing stuff says someone sent me a trade this morning, offered me Kincaid for Charbonnet. Level out. I took it. My league gonna be salted. All I did was hit accept. Offered me Kincaid. So they got Zach Charbonnet, bruh. Kenneth Walker is not looking that great. I'm not saying he gonna lose his position, but Kenneth Walker can have an injury, and Charbonnet could be a premium handcuff. Kincaid, with all the tight ends being volatile, with Kincaid ain't hitting the ceiling. Unless you needed a tight end really bad, I actually like the Charbonnet pickup. I actually think that's a good trade for him if he got Charbonnet. Be growing. Siobhan said, "What's your thoughts on how Juju's going to fit in when he's back? He just going to a championship, Siobhan. I don't think he's going to be a fantasy anything for you for fantasy, but are they going to win a championship? They're going to win a championship, guys. I want to tell you right now, I won't be surprised if Kansas City goes undefeated. I'm not saying here's the receipt, but I feel good about that. And when Juju comes back and they got D Hop and they got Pacheco, I think it's just all about winning a championship. I don't think Juju's going to be getting 12 targets every single game with something that you can trust and play in fantasy. All right, come on. Just always losing my spot. Okay, where's my spot? Where's my spot? Okay, there we go. Jimmy TV says Herbert has handcuff value for fantasy, but not standalone value. I think he's growing into a standalone value though, Jimmy. I think now that they changed up, it's a different quadrant. They got a different type of strategy that they're using. I think he does have standalone value at this point in time. I could be wrong though. I'm not saying you crazy for saying that. I understand. Early this year, you're exactly right. It might have changed underneath our nose. Conscious says, wait. I'm losing my mind. I have Kittle and Otten. It's a 12 team, two flex. One is tight end eligible. I actually have two great trade pieces. Who could I target with one of these tight ends? I like Brian Thomas Jr. Y'all know how when y'all talk about I'm going to Brian Thomas Jr., I'm going to Brian Robertson, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Now Jackson Smith and Jigba, you got to trade for him to be a flex play. He doesn't have with DK being a little being there, it could be a little volatile. Siobhan says, but if Patrick starts passing more, then maybe going to be a lot of mouths to feed. But Could be you're right, but I hope he gets fed too. Yeah, I just don't think nobody's. It's not enough targets to go around for everybody. For Travis Kelce to be good, for Juju to be good, for D Hop to be good, and a little bit for Xavier Worthy and Miko Hardman. It's just a lot of guys. The only guy that I think you can count on is D Hop and Travis Kelce and Pacheco if he's healthy. Conscious says I have Gibbs, Walker, Nico, Marvin Harrison Jr., Sutton, Kittle, Otten as a lock stars right now. Mason Dawes, DeMarcus Algier, Davis, Coker. Ronald says TD, local legend. Appreciate the consistency. Thank you, bro. King of Nike says TD, somebody drop Jordan Mason. I'm stashing him and Garendo. Yes, I would do that. Conscious says Love and Stafford. Two good quarterbacks. Elisa says I have Justin Jefferson, two of my three leagues with Cup and Devontae Smith. Okay. That's elite wide receiver. As long as Cup healthy, you probably might have the top wide receiver group in your league. It's all good, conscious. It's all good. Jimmy says pick up Taysom Hill. He's arguably the Saints' number two running back. Facts, Jimmy. Facts. King of Nike says, TD, I heard you say you are dropping Michael Pittman Jr. for Quinton Johnston. I like the sound of that. Yes, because I in that league. Other leagues I'm not doing it, but I yes, in certain leagues because of my bench space and everything going on, I'm okay with that in that particular league. Conscious was talking to Caitlin. He said that TD will give you high quality fantasy advice. No BS here. Facts. Conscious said Quentin is the only guy worth a claim for me tonight. Facts, Conscious. Facts. He's the only guy like that. Unless it's some of these other guys that I talked about in the past on your waivers tonight. But it's one of those weeks where I gotta make no claims and make up in priority. Conscious, I'm not big into the Chicago Bears. It don't look good, but the math makes sense. If DJ Moore picks it up, hell yeah, that's a good move. But I don't want to do it, man. I wouldn't do it for Bears. I do think he has to get going. Chicago has an easy schedule. Eberflus has to go. You could be right. Joe Garcia said, "Would you drop Deontay for Quentin?" Yes, I would. I would drop Deontay for Quentin. That's a drop. I got to. Deontay is the only guy that I say is a drop. It's just when are you going to play him? Playing with all those guys on the Baltimore Ravens. He's a good real football player for that team, but for fantasy, that's disgusting. I don't want to play him because I don't know when they're gonna get targets. Marlon says, should I trade Saquon, Drake London, D Hop, and Brian Thomas for AJ Brown, Neighbors, Montgomery, and Addison? Hell no. Nope. Don't do them crazy bunch of playing musical chair swaps. Nope. I'm not gonna tell nobody to trade no Saquon. I'm automatically gonna say no. We don't do that here. That's for the dynasty channels. We don't trade elite talent. We trying to win. We trying to squeeze all the juice out of the orange. Pause before it goes empty. So I'm not trading Saquon. I don't see it that way, Marlon. Ronald says you rolling with Drake May or Russ while Dak is out. Probably Russ. I think he got a little bit more of a safer. Drake May got more upside, but Russ is safer. Marlon says my running backs are stacked right now. I have Saquon Mixon. Yeah, so I wouldn't be losing much on RBs. Yeah, but you can't. But you put Saquon in there. At wide receiver, I only have London, DK, Brian Thomas, and JSN. Now if you want to trade Breach Hall to get a wide receiver, yeah, but I'm not. I don't think you should be trading Saquon. Mixon, I'm okay with you trading Mixon and Breach Hall for a piece. I don't think you should trade Saquon. Um, Dixon, what's up, bro? He said Downs or Dunze. I'm gonna go with Downs. I'm going with Downs. Mr. Anderson said, "How you feeling about Gasecki? I like Gasecki. Long as T Higgins is out. If T Higgins plays, I don't like Gasecki." Siobhan said, "What's your thoughts on Chase Brown losing touches to Herbert? Moss is out for us." No, guys, Moss, Chase Brown is going to be great for you for the rest of the season. He's going to eat. I wouldn't worry about Herbert. B. Growing says, "I'm 9-0. Needed a tight end bad. Okay, I got Barkley, King, Henry. Come on. Oh, wouldn't have started Sharp over them three. Right. I got you. Okay. Okay. They have Walker. I'm good on running back depth. Okay. My starting wide receiver are Cup, McCoy, Pickens, Brian Thomas Jr., Ridley. Okay. I see what you're saying. I still wouldn't have did it for Kincaid though, B growing. I just wouldn't have done it for I don't think he's gonna give you the upside. I would have rather got Taysom Hill off waivers, bro, to be honest. I get what you're saying now. You didn't need Sharp, but I still would have held on to him. I'm not giving it away. Conji says, I know what you mean. It's the Bears. I do lean to have players on great offenses. Good point. Right. But I just haven't seen enough. Not for me. Cameron Austin says, I got CD Lamb and Drake London. How do they look this week? Do I need to pick up a new waiver wire wide receiver? Yeah, I think you do. I think you need to get a wide receiver. I think you need to pick up Quinton Johnston in case one of those guys are out. Both of them could be out, so you at least need Quinton Johnston or another wide receiver that's going to play this week. Who won't smoke? Barbecue says, would you start Jaden Daniels this week? Yes, I would. If you got Jaden Daniels, I would start him every week, no matter the matchup. Right, Marlon. Like I said, until you get Saquon out of the trade, I'm gonna tell you no. Dr. Duck says, "Are you stashing Odell Beckham Jr.? He had 3 receptions for 15 yards. I don't even. I'm not even saying Odell Beckham name. I'm not. Nah. Even if he has a 20-point game, no. Unless Tyreek Hill or somebody went down. Pause. I hope not. Knock on wood. I'm not worried about Odell Beckham. Still King says, "What's up? Higgins overshot Stevenson. I'm gonna go with Higgins over Ramondre Stevenson. I'm going with Higgins over Ramondre Stevenson if he plays, if he's practicing. If he don't practice all week, I'm not playing him. Even in the flex. I agree. Conscious says OBJ is irrelevant. I agree. I agree. I think Khalil Herbert is irrelevant when it comes to Chase Brown value, not carries. He's going to get some carries. Devin Singletary's been getting carries, but it's irrelevant when it comes to the starter. Freezy says 10-man PPR trade Jamar Mooney B Rob for Mixon CD and Water. No. Don't trade Jamar and Mooney and Brian Robinson Jr. Those are your winning players right there. Mixon, I'm not trading for Mixon like that with Jamar in the trade. Like I'm giving away Jamar and then I'm getting Mixon and CD. CD going with damaged goods with a hurt AC joint. Waddle who can't get a target. Nah. I still like Water as a stash, but if you want to move on and make the right moves for week to week, I get it. Water, you can't hold on to him this long and redraft. Conscious said my draws are clean. Pause. Conscious says I know what you mean. That was funny, right? Rico says Yankees big George got Jerry. Yep. Oh, you think so, bro? Rico, that's close. You challenging me, bro. Big George is right. George I don't forgot his last name. But yeah, George is like that. George won a lot of championships. People said he was crazy, but he didn't play them, he didn't play no damn games. You're not winning, he's gonna get your ass up out of there. That's close. I'm gonna give you that, bro. But Jerry still he made the most money, and the Yankees right behind him. So I got to give you credit. The Yankees right behind him. But he also set it up for the NFL teams to make money. They used to have to share that. So all the revenue they shared. Jerry's like, no, I share the ticket sales. I'm not sharing this deal that I got from Pepsi. I'm not sharing that. And Jerry won it. Connie says, laughing my butt off. Damn, you right. I was a big drinker back in my teens and 20s. Right, right. B Silver says, makes sense why they play the Jaguars in London for 2 weeks in a row. That was a first this year. Right, right. Mistakes happen. Right, conscious. Cameron Austin says, after the shoulder injury, is CeeDee Lamb still wide receiver one for the rest of the year, or do I get off him? Get off of him. I would get off CD. I would go try to get a bundle deal like Malik Neighbors and Zay Flowers for CD. And this is your preference. I'm just giving you my preference. Yes. Conjure says no Dak. I trade CD for another big wide receiver. Right. Now listen, that backup quarterback will come in there and he'll run, he'll drive the ship nice and smooth, pause. Like he won't do nothing special, but he won't wreck it. So CD could be okay. I just the upside that you want for him to be 2 touchdowns a game, it ain't happening. I don't think so. Okay, here go Empress Janet Wonderland. Okay. She said, stop sucking up to Jerry. Success is measured in wins and trophies, and as of late, Dallas has neither. Okay, Empress, this is what I'm gonna say. Do you, do anybody make money in your household? And I'm pretty sure I know that. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just asking you a question. Yeah, money is important. Everybody try to act like money ain't important until it's something that they don't like. But if right now, if my YouTube channel didn't have the most subscribers, but I made the most money, ain't that relevant? Or do I need a plaque? And do I need a YouTube plaque? I don't need no. I don't care nothing about no YouTube plaque. I don't care nothing about y'all saying I got a nice channel. I care about the income that I get at the end of the month. And if I'm making the most money in the whole world on YouTube, I'm successful. I'm successful. That's how I would run my team. That's why I like it. I'm not telling y'all should believe the same thing. I got my three. We got our 3 Super Bowls. We changed people's lives. I'm good with it. I'm good with the way Jerry run his team. If I had my team, nobody's gonna tell me what coach I should hire or what coach I should fire. Jerry played football too, so. But I get what you're saying. Just on far as winning, no, we not. We like bottom 15. But far as the impact on the world and changing African American guys' life and changing other people's lives, Jerry is killed it. He's number one in the world. Jerry gonna go down in history as one of the most successful people in the world. He started out with something that he almost went bankrupt on, and ended up making it great. End up being the biggest thing in the world. Only people who got a vision to be greater than what they are can see that. If you just want to be comfortable, then that's fine. But if you want to be the best actor of all time, I want to be the best football player of all time, then you strive to have the most money of anybody. Sometimes you can't win the most football games and have the most money. Everything don't happen that way, right? Right. She made a great point. That's why I addressed it. She did make a great point, Conscious, and I respect her point. But I just see Jerry is killing it because Emmitt Smith kids are going to eat. And I know you might not want to talk about that, but you want to talk about that for the politics. Oh, who's changing? Who's making money? But when somebody's out there really doing it, you don't want to listen to it. You want to go to the politics game and sit and vote there. But you don't want to see when a man is actually taking money out of his pocket and paying a guy big time money that nobody else said they want to pay him that because he was an African American. Everybody said, Jerry, don't give Dion $20 million. Jerry said, yes, I am. Jerry, don't let them boys party like that. Don't let Michael Irvin go out there and party like that. Yes, I am, because he works hard when he's here at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. So if he wants to party, he can party. People don't understand that. I seek managerial skills. I don't seek like I seek great managers, which in turn can make you more money at the same time. So having Jerry as your owner, he's not going to kick you off the team for making a mistake. He understands that young kids make mistakes because he made a lot of mistakes. So it's just a lot of stuff in there about that. Let's see here. Mondo says, should I trade Jones and Kincaid for Jacobs and Ingram? Which Jones? Are you talking about Daniel Jones? Mondo? Let me know who you're talking about. Mr. Anderson said, is Mahomes ready to boom? Yes. It's not going to be 40 point, 50 point old school 4 years ago Mahomes, but it's going to be better than what he's been doing with D Hop healthy. Right, Kenny. Right. That's why you got to give Jerry his credit. Kenny says Trump could have purchased the Cowboys for 10 million. He thought it was a bad investment. All right, guys, my phone is going dead, but I'm gonna go. I can go live. I can go a little bit longer for about 10 more minutes. Okay, he says tight end premium. Who is the Jones? I'm trying to think. Who is the Jones? Okay, hold on. And Taylor says Mike Williams a worthwhile they pick up. No, don't pick up Mike Williams. Don't pick up Mike Williams. Jawan says, should I trade Ken Walker for Chase Brown and Stevenson? Yes, I would do that. I like Chase Brown. I would try to go a little bit better than Ramondre, but if that, I'm fine with that. Getting Chase Brown and Ramondre Stevenson, I'm okay with that. Aaron Jones. Okay, thank you, Cameron. So he said, should I trade Aaron Jones and Kincaid for Jacobs and Ingram? I think I answered that already. Um, no, I would stay with the Aaron Jones side. Thank you, Cameron. Conscious says Jerry Jones' success was all because of Jimmy Johnson. I disagree with that. I totally disagree with that. Him and Jimmy played on the same team. So when he bought the Dallas Cowboys for 10 million, he bought Jimmy on because he knew what Jimmy had been doing when he was on the team for Arkansas, and all because they won a national championship. Also, he saw what he was doing for Miami, how he was handling the black players, and the black players gravitated towards Jimmy, and they respected him. He wasn't micromanaging them, and so Jerry knew that business model was going to work for the NFL. So you got to give Jerry credit for that too. Jimmy was a monster coach, one of the best coaches ever. But Jerry was the mastermind to put the pieces together. He also got Charles Haley that Jimmy couldn't do. King of Nike, he says, appreciate the super chat, bro. He says, I need a quarterback and tight end for week 11. Kyler Murray and McBride are both on bye. Okay. I might have to pick them up this week, thinking ahead. Tua, May, Wilson. I like Tua over May and Wilson. Tight ends, Hunter Henry, Gasecki, Jonu, Pat, Conklin, Dalton. And I would play Hunter Henry. If T. Higgins doesn't play, I will play Gasecki over Hunter Henry. So I'm gonna rank three tight ends for you. I'm gonna say Hunter Henry and Gasecki, but if T. Higgins is out, I would say Gasecki, Hunter Henry, and then I would Jonu as the third tight end. But I don't think you're gonna get to him. So yes, I would play Tua and Hunter Henry. But if T. Higgins out, play Gasecki, Tua Gasecki. Appreciate it, King of Nike. Appreciate it, bruh. Johnson, who housing the Vikings in the Herschel Walker trade, right? Because if Jimmy Johnson housing the hosing the Vikings in the Herschel Walker trade, it was all Jimmy. Jerry was just a smart businessman. That's part of it, guys. We can't sit around and ignore the business because we don't own nothing. You got to think like you can go buy the Lakers too. You can't think like I'm just an employee. I'm just an employee, and but that's what the top guy at the top is doing. No, you got to think you can like I got to think like that. I got a YouTube channel. This is my channel. I can bring on whatever I want to bring on. I can do whatever I want to do. But guess what? Y'all guys come in. Y'all have helped me on a lot of players. But you can't say you the most important part of that because you told me about a player. I still got to go live. I still have to make the thumbnails. I still got to make the titles. Jerry still had to buy the Dallas Cowboys. Who hired Jimmy? Why didn't somebody else hire Jimmy? Why didn't the Raiders hire Jimmy? Jerry hired Jimmy for his first job in the NFL. So you got to now listen. You got to give that credit. You still got to be able to do the puppets in the background. Everybody deserves credit. Jimmy was very important about that. I ain't say it's. I think it's 50-50 between Jimmy and Jerry. Big Mac says if Tre'Davious White can somehow revive his career mid-season, the Baltimore defense is going to be nasty, right? And they get Marlon Humphrey back too. Should I keep starting Cade Otton? Yes. Squeeze the juice all out of that until it's dry. Pause. Keep starting Cade Otton, even when Mike Evans comes back. Kovac says, which bum should I drop, Ertz or Andrews? I would say Andrews if you have to. I don't think neither one of them is a drop, but you can't drop Ertz. Ertz is probably Jalen Daniels' number one target. So I don't think neither one of them is a drop, but if I had to drop one, it would be Andrews. I'm not dropping Ertz. King of Nike says Robert Kraft, the Rooney family, Dr. Bus. Right. Those are your top three, King of Nike. I respect listen, Robert Kraft came in there late. I respect him. The Rooney family, I put them above Robert Kraft because, and this I don't want to get into like because I'm not talking. I don't want to say this is politics, but y'all know how I talk. I like what the Rooneys did for African Americans back in the '70s. They treated black men the best way any person could treat somebody back then. So I love what the Rooneys did. And you see what they done for Mike Tomlin. They gave him a job. You see some of the other things that they done for the community. Rooney's are up there. They done a lot of great. That's what I'm talking. I'm talking about very impactful, big time stuff. Rooney's is up there. Dr. Bus has done it too. So I will put the Rooney's above the Rooney's and Dr. Bus above Robert Kraft. But I would actually put. I think it's close between Dr. Bus. It's close between the Rooney's, Dr. Bus, Jerry, and the New York Yankees owner. Those are probably the top four guys I would say. That's a great point though, King of Nike. I love that opinion, bro. It keeps me because those are great owners. Yes, sir. Thank you, BT. Thank you, BT. Um, should I keep on starting? Yes. Okay, Rainy Angel says Jerry Jones has been accused of racism throughout his 35 years of the Cowboys. You should be embarrassed for supporting him. Thank you for bringing that up. You ready for me to break this down? And this, I got to be careful. I don't want to get too far into this. I just want to be careful because I'm not going to sit here and turn this into like a defending Jerry Jones. So this is going to get, but I'm so glad you asked it. I wanted to talk about this. Y'all know I went to a school where people they had rebel flags. I went to a 97% Caucasian school where 30-40% of them they called themselves rednecks and had that on their shirts. And they would carry rebel flags, and they just outlawed rebel flags like 5-6 years ago from that school. But when I was there, they would bring it, and we would be in race wars. So I want to give you some background what type of school I went to. It's called Southern Alamance and it's in North Carolina. So you look it up. It's called the Confederates. If you fly over it, the school looks like a Confederate flag. They built it that way. So I had friends that were doctors and lawyers, and they were Caucasian. I got a lot of multiracial friends. Um, I went to school like that, great guys. But are you telling me they ain't never said a racial word? I used to call them out about it. You ain't know, and they were like, well, right? So ain't nobody perfect. I made mistakes. I've said things that I would not say right now at this point in time of my life. Everybody has. Nobody is perfect, but I respect the man for what he portrayed, and I don't want to say portrayed, but the real stuff that hits the fan. So Jerry paying Dion and all that stuff over rides what he said in his private home, because we all say stuff in our private home. So if you think it's some people out here walking around and they Jesus and they not saying any bad word ever and they love everybody and they're gonna get everybody the right opportunity every single time in their life, you are sadly mistaken. So I think Jerry, far as the average man, he's done the best he could. He's made mistakes, and I can overlook people um who had bad times in life. Deshaun Watson, I can forgive him. He made a mistake. I don't want to get into all of that, but he made mistakes. Everybody's made mistakes. I can forgive people. It's about what you never. If Jerry had never paid nobody, never did that, yeah, it would be a little bit different. Okay, let's keep going. Sorry, guys. I apologize if we got off topic a little bit, but I wanted to talk about that. I think this is a good topic. It's kind of relevant what's going on with Jerry and stuff like that. Um, Conji says I'm starting Kittle and Otten now. Okay, let's see. Siobhan says, "Hey TD, just catching you live. Appreciate it." Conscious says Jerry was at the scene of the college during the first black attendant. That was pretty telling. I don't trust Jerry. Tell me, who do you trust, Conscious? Go to the Rooney. Go to the Roonies, because I could. You think the Roonies have always been perfect? They had never said that. They want their daughter dating anybody. Come on now, let's be for real. They want. Can I go in their household and take off my shoes? Can I go to their party in their family union and hang out with them? I love a person to tell me, if a person come up and tell me who he is, no matter if I like it or not, I respect that. That's why I keep it 100. I don't keep it. Hey, I love you, man, and I'm a great guy. Like that I don't like that fake stuff. Jerry, for real, he for real, he made mistakes. Everybody made mistakes, but I don't want nobody sit here lying to my face trying to sell me a dream that they ain't never did anything wrong. They don't got no racism in them. Right, Kenny. I agree with that, because I've been at certain places. And I'm not saying Jerry is the greatest guy. Like, I'm not gonna say, oh, I want Jerry to date my daughter. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that when you look at what he's put on paper, the straight facts, look what he's done. If he's some racist guy, why did he pay Dion? Why did he pay Emmitt Smith? Why did he pay Zeke? He paid them. He's paid more money out than any NFL owner in the history to African American players, and it's not about that, right? I'm just saying Jerry's done a lot of great things, even though he got that type of baggage with him too. But a lot of people do. A lot of people do. I'm talking about some of y'all favorite people. They all got that. Um, Let me see. Conscious says Aaron Jones looked great. Packers were fools for forgetting, yes, for letting him go. I agree with that, Conscious. Homegrown drafted player, shameful. Facts. Mr. G says, I think I did that one already. Juwan says trade Ken Walker for Stevenson and Chase Brown. Trade Ken Walker for Stevenson and Chase Brown. Yes, I'm doing that. I'm getting that 2-for-1 deal. I would trade Kenneth Walker for Stevenson and Chase Brown. Yes, sir. Okay, Mr. G said that was a new question. That was a new question. What was the new question? Let me know what you're talking about, Mr. G, because I'm trying to find my spot. Oh, okay. Let me see. All right, there we go. Yeah, reminder. Okay, ATD Jerry was he just catching up on Elijah Jones. Look. Okay, yeah, Ramondre Stevenson Waddle for Brian Thomas Jr. Yes, I like that one. That was a new one. I did that one already, Mr. G. You didn't hear me. I skipped it when you first posted that one a while ago. I read it even though it was at the bottom. But yes, because I saw it early. Maybe I didn't read it out correctly though. I apologize if I didn't. But Ramondre Stevenson Water for Brian Thomas Jr. I like it if you are. Yeah, because I remember talking about this. Because Waddle, I understand Waddle right now, he can't get a target. Ramondre, if you got other running backs, you can move on from him. To get Brian Thomas Jr., I will consolidate to do that. I like that move. Um, Siobhan says, "What's your thoughts on how Juju's going to fit and when he's back active and playing?" Just another guy. Yeah, I remember that because that's what I said to Siobhan when I had read your question. But yeah, just another guy. That's what Juju gonna be. Your mom says, "Do I start Tyreek Hill or Debo Samuel?" I'm starting Tyreek Hill. I think you need to start Debo. You need to start both of them. But if you put me in a box and I have to choose, then I'm gonna say Tyreek Hill. But both of those guys are stars this week. C.A. Jevons says Ingram or Njoku rest of the season. I'm going with Njoku. Blue Sea Turtle says, "No, you think I should do this trade? I get Kyler Murray, Joe Mixon, Justin Jefferson, give Josh Allen, Jonathan Taylor, Malik Neighbors. You get Kyler Murray, Joe Mixon, and JJ. I think it's okay. I don't think you have to do it, but I think it's okay. You're getting JJ. So hopefully the players that you got around Kyler Murray and Joe Mixon and JJ are going to be solid too. So I like that. I'm fine with that. If you want, make sure you got a guy that you're targeting. Just don't do trades just to do a trade. Hopefully you like Joe Mixon or JJ or somebody, right? Did you think somebody's going to be elite? Okay. Mr. G says, "Oh, I said if I should drop Water and pick up Quinton, Leggett, or Noah Brown, or just keep him." Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Um, Water and pick up Quinton. Yes. Okay. So yeah, I would drop. I'm okay with dropping Water and picking up Quinton. I don't like that you're doing it, but I don't know the rest of your team. So Waddle right now is just not doing what he should be doing. So I'm okay with you moving on. Yeah, pick up Quentin over Leggett and Noah Brown. Pick up Quinton Johnston. Leggett is safer than Quentin. Leggett is safer than Quentin, but Quentin got more upside. Nah, you can't start Thielen for the Panthers. It's all about Coker and Leggett. Um, Now I don't know. They might use Thielen. If they didn't trade him, they might use him. I would rather have Leggett. I would rather have Leggett. But Thielen could be a bye week replacement. Trinidad says, "I got Miles Garrett as my defensive end on my fantasy team." Yes, he's a monster. So him and TJ Watt, man, they monsters. Conscious says, "TD, what about offering Otten for DJ Moore?" I think, okay, yeah, we did that one. Chicago has an easy schedule. Yeah. I just don't feel great about the Chicago Bears. Yes, I would drop Deontay for Quitting. Kopak says Mooney or Herbert at the flex. I'm going with, I think it's going to be Mooney. If Drake London is out, I'm going with Mooney. But if Drake London plays, I would probably still go with Chuba Hubbard against the Giants. I would probably still go with Chuba Hubbard. But it's all about Drake London. If Drake London misses, you got to play Darnell Mooney. Big one. Okay. I'm not. No, I needed a tight end bad. Okay, we did that one already. Siobhan, so what's your thoughts on Chase Brown losing touches to Herbert? I think Chase Brown is still going to be a top 12 running back with Herbert there. Gasecki, if T. Higgins doesn't play, Gasecki going to boom. Joe Garcia says, my other wide receivers are Cup, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Tillman just traded for Mooney. Good job. LA Real Game says, are you surprised ETN Jr. didn't get traded? Yes, I am. I don't. Hey, that shows you that the Jacksonville Jaguars are garbage. That does make me a little nervous about Brian Thomas Jr. I don't know what the hell they doing. Man, I would fire somebody. Got to get fired. Why in the hell you got Travis Etienne if you're not going to use him? If he's hurt, then that's one thing. But if he gets all 100% healthy and you don't give him no more than about 6, 7 carries a game, what the hell are you doing? MVM says Leggett, McMillan, and QJ on waivers. Should I drop Rarity, Bigsby, and Ferguson? I have Kelsey. I think I would drop probably Worthy and pick up QJ. What's up, Kenny? Says, hey, bro, sorry about the bad news for the Cowboys. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Jaden Daniels or Sam Darnold? I'm going with Jaden Daniels. I'm dancing with the girl that I came to the party with. Kenny says, I'm starting Kyron, A-Chain, Zay, and Neighbors. Who do I put in the flex? Devontae, CMC, or Tank? CMC if he's healthy. You put CMC there. Mr. G says, drop Waddle for Quinton, Coker, Leggett, Noah Brown, or just keep them. No, don't drop Waddle for Quinton. I wouldn't do that. Now, listen, if you want to do that, I see what you're saying now. I wouldn't do that. I will hold on to Waddle, but I'm biased. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that. I'm biased because I do see the move and the math makes sense. Quinton got the upside this week. Waddle has been volatile and getting up by like, what, 3 targets a game. I just think Waddle and Tua on this offense, with Tua being healthy, has more upside. But Tua is also volatile too. So maybe go ahead and do it, man, and just get off Waddle and move on and go ahead and start rebuilding your team with another wide receiver. You can do that. So it's up to you, man. I think what you're trying to do makes more sense than what I'm saying. I don't want to drop Waddle, knowing that other wide receivers are trashy. Like I like the way Miami coach draws up plays. I feel good about that. He just ain't getting used right now for whatever reason. But if you want to make that move, there's nothing wrong with that. Jacob says, should I trade my Collins and Reed for JJ? Yes. Yes, I would do that because you're gonna have to wait on Collins for a while. Yes, I would do that. I am in third with the highest point score. My depth at wide receiver will be down to a flex at best wide receivers. Reed is currently on my bench. Love the content, bro. Thank you, Jacob. Yes, I would make that move to go ahead and consolidate and get JJ. You saying that you're gonna have flex potential? I don't know who that is. Zay ain't a flex, but I don't know who other wide receivers. If you're gonna have really, really weak wide receivers, then maybe not. But Jaden Reed he's not been consistent. So he's a flex. Only guy that's been consistent was Nico. So I would give up Nico and Reed for JJ. I would do that. Your Leggett is gonna be good. Barry. Appreciate you being here. Cameron says Malik Neighbors and Jaden Reed and CeeDee Lamb and Tyreek Hill. Oh, okay. Malik Neighbors and Jaden Reed for CeeDee Lamb and Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I think that's a good trade. All right, let me. I don't want to miss the super chat. Okay, yeah, I see it. That's all right. I ain't missed it. All right, guys. So I'm gonna start getting to some of the. My phone get ready to go dead, so I'm only gonna read out the members for the rest of the chat. For the rest of the chat is for members only. I'm only gonna read your chat unless you super chat. Um, Barry says Jerry a successful in sense of business, but they need to win. Of course, we do need to win, but you got to have a business plan to put it together. Did y'all see that Mark, the guy from the owner from the Mavericks, he sold the team because of the business side. Like that's very, very big. If you're not savvy there, the other stuff is not going to trickle down. Rico says, "Who do you flex? Stevenson, Tracy, Higgins, ready to go." I would say Tracy over Higgins and Stevenson because of the matchup. James says, "When Jerry played football, it looked like basketball." That's facts. I'm not gonna sit there and say that's wrong, but that's for everybody that played back then. Everybody. It wasn't no it wasn't an integrated type system, right? Easton says, "I'm 2-7, but I have Jaden Daniels, CMC, Kyron Williams, Drake London, and Garrett Wilson." I think you just got to stay put, man, and weather the storm, man. You may not make the playoffs, but Jaden Daniels is a great quarterback to have. CMC is a great guy to have coming back. Kyron Williams is a good running back. Drake London is out, but you got Garrett Wilson. I would say work the waiver wire, man, and keep fighting. You never know. You might be tied for six and sneak into the playoffs. Lucian says, "Is Jordan Mason a drop?" Not necessarily. Just depends on your team, what you're trying to do. Mr. G says, "Just got an offer. Mix and Waddle for T Hill and Chubb." I like the T Hill and Chubb. I like acquiring Tyreek Hill. I like the Tyreek Hill side, Mr. G. Joe Garcia says, "What I was saying with those four wide receivers, I have dropped Deontay for Quinton, correct? I drop. I have to drop Deontay for Quinton, correct? Yes, that's fine, Joe. That's fine. Dropping Deontay Johnson for Quinton is a good move. I think it's a good move. I think it just depends on your team. I think you can hold them, but if you need to pick up a good player that can win you a week, it's okay to drop Jordan Mason. But when you drop him, don't be worried about what he's doing. That's why I'm saying be careful if you drop him, because if you're gonna be worried about what he's gonna be doing, don't drop him. When I drop a player, I'm done with you. I'm not worried about what you're gonna do. Now, if I can pick you back up, I can pick you back up. But I'm not gonna sit here and play. I wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda, buts, ifs, and buts. I'm not playing that. Barry says, "I have to give you credit. Never heard someone put Jerry into perspective before." Thank you, Barry. My one of my homeboys said the same thing. I said, listen, I'm a Cowboys fan. We spore. He said, "Hey man, y'all ain't won a championship." I said, "Bruh, I'm gonna tell you the truth, and and people might not tell you this, but ask them the right question to bring it out of their subconscious." So this is what I'm saying. Jerry Jones has spoiled us so much with stars. Stars are the most important thing for the Dallas Cowboys over championship. Now, listen, we do want a championship. If you ask us, we're going to tell you that that's the number one thing. But if you was to put us on a lie detector test or to be able to get it into our conscious, we want to see very successful big time quarterbacks or running backs or players on our team, and that's what keeps us wanting to root for the Cowboys and believe that we're gonna win a championship every year because the players that Jerry drafts. If we got a bunch of core players out there that don't got no swag and we winning, the Cowboys are gonna be. I know me. I'm like, this is the Patriots. This ain't the Cowboys. The Cowboys. Where's the celebration? Where's the cheerleaders? Where's the spectacle? I think we love the spectacle that Jerry puts on. That's why he won't change. But nobody's going to tell you that. They won't admit that. I can look in and say, you know what? If he's getting T.O., Terrell Owens, and he's getting Deion Sanders and Tony Romo with dating Jessica Simpson, that's the life of the Cowboys, and we love that. But we want to say we want rings. I think we will take a ring, but I just think we love the spotlight. We like celebrities. We like to go and watch the celebrities. Kenny says Pittsburgh runs too much. Kenny says Lattimore to Washington is nice though. Right. Right, right. Why did I? I don't know why I said Lattimore to Baltimore Ravens earlier. I think I said something like that. That was crazy. That's not what I. That's not what I meant. So I apologize if I said that earlier. Jones or Flacco, probably only people on waivers, right? Daniel Jones or Flacco. I like Daniel Jones. Yes, Henry is averaging 5 to 7 receptions a game with Drake May. Last 3 to 4 games. Facts. BT says, keep up the great work. Keep up the great work. Thanks, bro. Kenny says, I wish Jerry would have covered the fine George Teague had to pay for knocking T.O. off the star. Right. The George Teague had to pay. He should have. Hey, he might have covered it on the low. That's a great point. I'm pretty sure that Jerry probably did pay for that because you don't disrespect the star. Sean Bonds, he says, I have Stroud and Caleb Williams at quarterback. Am I safe, bro? I think if you can weather the storm with Stroud, you good. But what's on waivers? Do you got Justin Herbert out there? You might have to stream Justin Herbert. No, Mark Brian Thomas Jr. is not a sell high. Okay. All right. Let's see, guys. I'm getting to the members. Conjure said Jags are garbage, right? What's up, Chris? Conjure says Dolphins, Rams, and Lions, Texans are night games, not Thursday. Boom games for fantasy. Stafford is a top 10, it's top 10 week. And you grabbed DeMarcus before his 27th. I knew he scores big when he's a wide receiver 3. Yes. That's the role that he plays. He's good at that role. What I was saying for those 5 or 6. Okay, right. I got Baker, Murray, same bye week. Who do I cut? Baker's been playing good, man, but I'm gonna go with Murray, but I could be biased. But I'm just telling you what I would do. I would play Murray over Baker. That's me. Cameron said you'll never be able to sell Brian Thomas Jr. for what he's worth. Probably not. I don't know. I would like to buy him. I would like to buy him. Ed Tate says David or Isaac Garendo. I would go with Ray Davis as a stash. Right. Conscious is right. Hold Mason until you see CMC go out there and play a healthy game. I agree with that. All right, guys. Well, listen, I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. I appreciate everybody tuning in, guys. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to this channel. This is cutting edge content. Make sure you work them waiver wires tonight. Peace.